Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, as you're probably all aware by now, we are in Wuthering Waves 2.8, the last version of 2.x. And with that tearful farewell, I decided what better time for us to break down the best teams of the 2.x version, going through and looking at all the characters that have been revealed and breaking down my picks for the best teams across a bunch of different criteria. But before we begin, thank you War Thunder for sponsoring today's video. Now let's go ahead and get right back into it. So the criteria that I'm going to be using to judge these teams is actually going to be really simple, and we'll go with this: performance in TOA and WuWa. This is going to be rated on a 5-point scale. Pretty much all of these are going to be rated on a 5-point scale. The next measure is going to be ease of use. How easy or hard is the team to pilot? Are there any sort of like gaps, any pitfalls in character kits that can cause some troubles for you down the road? If so, we'll highlight them here. Or are some of the teams just so ridiculously easy with like insane recovery mechanics and not a lot of room for error? And if so, teams will be rated a little bit higher over here because they're easier to use. But if teams have a little bit of clunk in the trunk, a little bit harder to use, or a lot of room for error, they'll be rated a bit lower. Then next up, we're going to have budget. Is it a free-to-play friendly team? Does it offer a character like a shorekeeper who can be used in a bunch of different lineups? Then yeah, it'll be rated a bit higher if it uses a multi-general use case sort of unit that applies on a bunch of different teams. And then the last rating that we're going to be having, this is going to be a bit more of a subjective one. The last couple of scores that I gave, right? Performance in TOA, performance in WuWa, ease of use, budget. Those are a bit more objective, right? Those just kind of take like the raw numbers from the game. Those kind of just take like the raw characteristics of like a character's kit and just give scores to them. There's not really a lot of room for interpretation over there or disagreement. However, our last rating is going to be my personal opinion, and that's going to be playstyle. So without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's get right on into it. Let's take a quick break to talk about today's sponsor, War Thunder. War Thunder is the most complete vehicle combat game on the market, available on PC, consoles, and mobile devices, with over 2,500 unique tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships from over 10 nations spanning over a century of history. My favorite part of the game is the incredible amount of customization available for vehicles, with countless camouflages, historical trinkets, and of course, decorations. And you'll want a way to stand out given War Thunder's 95 million players as you go on epic PvP battles and immerse yourself in the realistic graphics and authentic sound of a war-torn battlefield. When it comes to fans of military history, there just isn't a better option on the market. So sign up today using my sponsored link in the description or pinned comment. As a final plus, new and returning players that haven't played in 6 months will also receive a huge bonus pack across all platforms with multiple premium vehicles and other goodies. Available only for a limited time, so make sure you don't miss it. Now, let's get back into it. So, the first teams that we're going to be going with are actually going to be in sequential sort of order, starting off with number 5 first. And this team over here that we're going to be starting off with in number 5 is going to be a very simple one. And it's going to be none other than Mono Fusion, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Mono Fusion will be my pick for the 5th best team in the game. And the reasoning for it is going to be pretty simple. And we'll be making sure to go into TOA, we'll be making sure to go into WuWa to talk about some of the stuff that's going on over here. So the reason why I consider Mono Fusion to be the 5th best team currently is that it just doesn't deal as much damage as some of the other lineups that we have in the game. There's been the introduction of a lot of stronger characters, not necessarily stronger characters, but some more aligned team synergies that has allowed Mono Fusion to go from 1st place in the previous rankings down to 5th place. And the reason for it is pretty simple. Mono Fusion has a weak link to it, and that weak link is unfortunately Chang Li. This is the Mono Fusion team. And a simple truth about the matter is that this team, when you replace Chang Li with Galbrena, it does more damage. Despite the fact that Chang Li buffs Liberation on her outro, Lupa does Liberation damage, the outro skills, they line up perfectly when Chang Li's on the team. But Galbrena just does so much more damage than Chang Li on field in a hyper carry rotation that Galbrena is stronger than the perfectly aligned outro buffs of this team. And basically the realization is that these two deal damage, they do their supportive role, they heal very well. But Chang Li just doesn't have the damage in a hyper carry playstyle to really bring it home. However, it's still going to be the number 5 rated team because it still absolutely crushes everything in the game. And let me just give you all a bit of a short demonstration over here. It's rated number 5 if you play it in a simple 1, 2, 3 outro way. And I'll show you what a simple 1, 2, 3 outro way is. You just go in, you rotate through the lineup, you go from Lupa's whole on-field rotation, right? It's just this. Into Brant. Then you do his on-field rotation, right?
Together we vanish. Different role. Perish in flames.
Then you just go on Chang Li, do hers. And then you just go back to Lupa, right? And that's the rotation, right? This is a very simplified way of playing the team. And the thing is that it clears all the content in the game, as you're seeing over here, right? I can take this into this zone. I can take this into the overdrive zone. I can take this into floors 3 and 4. It's just going to work every single time. And the thing is that, yes, when you play it in this style, you're not really going to have the best clear times ever, especially relative to some of the other teams on this list. But this is where this team is going to score really high. And that's going to be in play style. Because you can decide to do things, right? Like quick swap. This team has one of the highest ceilings in the game. You're seeing me play it in the most simplistic way possible. But the reality is, you start implementing things, right? Like quick swap. You start implementing things like double anchor text on Brant. I'll just show you a quick example of the shit that you could potentially do. And I'm just going to be honest. Don't flame me too much because I don't practice this that often. Like, you're just, like, swapping between the 3, right? Doing, like, a little bit of this. Like, and then you're like, you don't even know what's going on anymore. Obviously, like, I'm not even doing half my shit right. I'm like up in the air somewhere, but you can get what's going on. This team over here, it is without a doubt the most quick swap friendly team in the game, and it is the most quick swap center team in the game, with speedrunners using this lineup, clearing in like 20 seconds because they know what they're pressing and the team has capability for it. However, this team is also great when you just play it in that simple 1, 2, 3 playstyle. I don't ever feel the need to do the quick swap, get it that sweaty. It just clears for me anyways because my characters are well invested. But this is one of those teams that lets you go higher, but still has incredible baseline meta performance. And that's why I recommend this for both beginners, but then this is also my most highly recommended team for veterans that really want to get into the game mechanics and have the most fun that they can while playing as well. Because this team lets you play the game in pretty much any way that you want. Add as much complexity as you want. And I think that the fact that it captures so many ends of the audience, that's why I rate it so high for playstyle. Now let's get into some of the numerical scores. One thing you probably might have recognized across my clears is that this team has a fuck ton of AoE, and this team has a shit ton of grouping. I only showed off its performance in TOA because its performance in TOA is arguably weaker than its performance in WuWa, but it's still great. I'm gonna rate this team's performance in TOA a 4 out of 5, and then its performance in WuWa a 4.5 out of 5. That will be the ratings for this team, because this is still one of the best WuWa lineups in the game. It's just not a 5 because better teams exist with Ferlova on them. Now, when it comes to ease of use, this team will get a rating of a 5. And the reason why I say a rating of a 5 for ease of use is due to the fact that it's just, you can play it in a simple 1, 2, 3 like I just did, or you can look up the guides on how to quick swap with this team on YouTube. And the thing is that when you play this team in a 1, 2, 3 fashion where you just go from Lupa to Brant to Chang Li, it's one of the easiest rotations in the game. Literally. It's one of the easiest ones in the game, but then gets offset by the fact that you can quick swap later. But doing the baseline one, there's not much room for error other than making sure you don't use your abilities at the wrong time and get interrupted. Next, budget. That's where this team loses a lot of points. On the budget side, this is easily like a 1 or 2 out of 5. And that's why this team is now in the 5th spot position. It used to be number 1 before, but the reality actually is that investing in a mono team is one of the more painful things to do in the game. Because having a split element team means that only the resistance of your DPS really matters. For example, over here, right? Imagine that this floor is glacier resistant. Oh wait, it is, right? Do you care that much if you're running like Jinxie or Shorekeeper, Jeja, Jancy, right? If you're running this team, do you care that the enemies are glacier resistant? Not really, because your sub DPS is Jeja and your main DPS is Jinxie. Jinxie Spectro, your sub DPS is Glacio. You don't really care that the enemies are glacier resistant. When you run Mono Fusion, you can't really care because all 3 of your characters are the same attribute. And so that basically means if the enemy's fusion resistant, you are kind of a little bit fucked. However, though, you do get the benefit of all 3 of your characters benefiting when the resistance is decreased. So it's kind of just like it's like a double-edged sword over here, but I feel like it just ends up being more restrictive than it is freeing. And the thing is that Lupa only really works, generates her full buffs in only full fusion teams. That's really just it. And to make Lupa work, you need a fusion healer. And the only fusion healer in the game is Bran. So it's kind of just like these two are tied to the hip. That's why I think Mornier, the fusion Broadblade coming in 3.0, likely is going to be the character that helps free this up a little bit, because that's kind of like what it is. You need Lupa, but then you also need Brant, and then you need a 3rd DPS to come in and kind of spice it all up at the end. And that's really expensive compared to other teams. It is one of the most expensive teams in the game because you need 3 limited characters for it. And while you do have free-to-play options by putting in, let's just say, you could put in a Chisa and stuff in here. Once you do, the damage just starts going down, and then it's not really then it's not like a 4 or a 4.5 in the TOA anymore. And so the reality is, yes, to get this performance, you do gotta spend a lot of money or a lot of pulls to get there. And that's why I can't rate it that high. Playstyle, though. We just covered budget. Playstyle, though, this one gonna be a 5. Because you can play it easy, you can play it hard, you can choose your own difficulty when you're going for this team, and it just doesn't really feel like other teams in the game. But like I said before, the budget is what's bringing it down, and the fact that its TOA performance relative to other lineups isn't necessarily quite there anymore. So yeah, that's gonna be our rank 5. Now, let's go ahead and get on into, ladies and gentlemen, our rank 4 team. And this might upset some individuals. Yes, this is probably going to upset some individuals. Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? It is going to be this one. Yeah, our rank 4 team, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be Chisa, Chakona, Kartithia. And the placement of this team is going to be adjusted up and down compared to the prior list that we had before. And the reason for that is because Arrow Rover has been replaced by Chisa. Chisa, with her signature, deals more damage than Arrow Rover. However, it is a little bit fair to say that while the playstyle and the performance has gone up, the budget has gone down as a result. So we've got to do some rebalancing over here. This is the highest damaging team in the game. This is the best team in the TOA DPS wise. There's no need to test this team. There's no need to go in and do a rotation. Everyone knows this is the most highly damaging team in the game. However, it's only the best TOA team in the game. This team is kind of really not the best in Whimpering Waves, especially compared to other teams that will be showing today. This team is not the best in Whimpering Waves, and it's kind of really goddamn expensive because you need 3 characters with their signatures, and there's no general use case characters on this team because this is a 2.x team breakdown. And guess what, guys? Chisa is basically a 3.0 unit. And so you might be able to make the argument, Well, Saint, Chisa buffs all negative statuses, so she is a general use case unit. So by your rankings, the team should get buffed because of her. As of now in version 2.8, this is Chisa's only fucking team. Okay? This is her only goddamn team, so she's basically like a Lupa at this point. She needs very specific teammates. Because guess what, guys? You put her on any other negative status team, like with these guys, and she's worse than Verena and Shorekeeper. So yeah, I am going to consider this Arrow team as her only actual one. So let's go ahead. Let's start breaking it all down. Performance in TOA for this team is going to be a 5 out of 5. I don't think anyone can dispute that. It is the best Tower of Adversity team in the game. However, for its WuWa performance, we're going to have to talk about some of the barriers that exist. So, one of the things about Kartithia's kit is the fact that the more erosion stacks are on your enemy, the more damage her attacks do. The idea is that she has arrow erosion damage amplification, she spreads arrow erosion stacks as well, and she also detonates them with the second cast of her liberation, and then she also detonates them whenever she does basic attacks or air attacks in her fleur-de-lis form. You can see it over here. And in Whimpering Waves, which is multi-wave content, where the enemies are constantly spawning in, sometimes they're only on the screen for half a second before the next wave spawns in, you don't get a lot of time to build up these stacks. And so when fleur-de-lis has like multiple sequence nodes and stuff like that, it's not too much of a concern because she's just shitting out arrow erosion stacks like crazy by herself. But when you're stuck with Chakona, you're at S0, R1, or whatever, and you're stuck at Chakona, who's only doing 1 tick of arrow erosion off field a second, because she does 20 ticks, right? You end up with not that many stacks in Whimpering Waves. And the end result is like you never reach the stack caps, your fleur-de-lis attacks kind of feel like they're not doing as much as they should, and to be able to perform well with this team, you gotta be doing like a bunch of constant swaps back to like small fleur-de-lis form, and it's kind of a headache, especially compared to using other units in the game. So because of that, there's a lot of extra hoops to jump through. She can score well in WuWa, but I'm just gonna say she's not a top pick for a lot of people. There are a lot of better teams to use, and while she does get it done, she doesn't get it done in like a pretty manner, if that makes sense. So she's gonna be closer to like a 4, 4.5 along that scale. Maybe closer to a 4. Ease of use. I will say that this team has quite a bit of room for like quick swap and stuff like that. But like I mentioned before, it's absolutely not necessary at all for the team's performance. And when you're on field with Kartithia, you're not really quick swapping that much over there unless you're just like really trying to push it and be like giga sweaty when it's absolutely unnecessary. It's not like there's any like crazy outro mechanics for you to work around. You're just like squeezing in attacks during animations and playing sweaty that way. There's opportunities for that, but it's not essential to getting any level of anything done with this team. Ease of use, because of that score, I'll rate it closer to like I'll give it a 4 to 4.5. Ease of use is going to go down because I feel like Chisa has a little bit of clunk in her rotation, and Chakona can get a while to figure out her jump cancels. Chakona essentially takes her rotation time from like 7 seconds to like 3 if you learn how to do all of her cancels. So there's room for optimization over there. That's why we'll rate it closer to like a 4. And on budget, this one's going to have to be a 1 on budget too. And the reason why this is a 1 on budget, guys, is that this is the best team in the game. But when you put in Arrow Rover instead of her, the team's performance goes down by like 3%. However, Arrow Rover feels way worse to play than her. So in this team, the budget is like a 4. 3 to 4 out of 5 in this team. Maybe even a 4.5. But the playstyle is like a 1 or 2. In this team, the budget's like a 1 or 2. But the playstyle, well, the playstyle, ladies and gentlemen, it's closer to like a 4. Maybe a 3 or 4 on the playstyle side. So Chisa basically trades budget points for playstyle points. Because competitive, performance-wise, in TOA or WuWa, they're not really that much different. But if you want a smoother gameplay loop for your Kartithia teams, because Arrow Rover is one of the most clunky pieces of trash in the game, well then here's an opportunity for it right here. But are you willing to spend for a character and their limited weapon to iron out 5 seconds of a team's rotation? I hope you have some 3.x units planned for this character, Kuro Games. Anyways, So yeah, that's going to be the 4th best team. I don't really think it matters too much what's going on over here, guys. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't think we need to do any extra gameplay stuff. I think everyone knows this is the best team in the game, but it's not as good in WuWa as some other teams. All right, now let's go ahead and get into some of our more, let me just say, budget-friendly lineups. Or perhaps budget-unfriendly lineups. Because we got to get into our number 3 team right now. So our number 3 team over here, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be none other than, get ready for it, it's going to be Shorekeeper Chuyan Galbraina. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, some people, they might be a little bit upset with me for talking about this team or even having it up here, but this team has a lot of advantages, and there is a team that this one is replacing because of its incredible strengths. This, in my opinion, is the easiest team in the game to clear content with. That title used to belong to this team. Essentially, Chuyan Galbraina are the most brain-dead lineup with some of the most built-in CC, like a lot of iframes, a lot of like no penalties for dodging. This team is super easy to execute with, but its damage is a little low in the present day, right? That's because Jeja does no fucking damage at all. This team is close to as easy as the Carlotta Jeja team. It's even got some... I would say they're equal in terms of like overall ease of use, because Galbraina, ironically enough, has more CC at relevant times than Carlotta. Galbraina CCs in the middle of her most damaging rotation. Carlotta CCs during her setup. And then Chuyan is over here, does way more damage than Jeja, has way bigger team buffs than Jeja, and the end result is that this team plays as easy as Carlotta, but deals more damage. And if you don't want to take my word for it, ladies and gentlemen, why don't we just take this video clip? We don't need to go into the gameplay. Let's just take a look at this video that I prepared for you guys in advance. I played Galbraina blindfolded. There's one incredible moment that I want to show for you guys over here. Oh, this is my favorite one. It's right here. So basically what I do in this video is that I put on a blindfold. I do Chuyan and Shorekeeper's rotation with my eyes open just to be relatable, right? And then when Galbraina comes on the screen, I close my eyes, put on the blindfold, and then just do a rotation. And this is the gameplay. Take the glasses off too. Yeah, we gotta make sure we're focused up. This is in the TOA, by the way. This is floor 2. Look at this. Look, we're just cooking, right? Okay, I mean, my eyes are open right now, so it doesn't matter that much. But just check this out.
Break like bamboo with constant.
Speak of the devil. Behave now. Rise from by my trigger.
All right, here we go. Rise from Hellfire. Hey, somebody play payphone.
Hellfire.
Hey, somebody play. Where'd they go?
Speak of the devil.
That's a fresh wave.
Behave now.
Yo, where'd they go?
Rise from by my trigger.
All right, here we go. Rise from Hellfire. This character has some of the most obscene AoE I've ever seen. How is this motherfucker getting damage? Do you see this dude over here? How is he taking damage? He's not even in the AoE and he's taking damage. Look at that shit. The character is like meant to be played like with your fucking eyes closed. I swear to God, she's so simple, deals so much damage, has literally built-in CC. She like kicks a motherfucker, right? She like kicks him, and then like I guess she kicks him so hard they can't move because she kicks him and then shoots the gun that's like in her heel. They just get CC'd in the middle of her most damaging part of her rotation. Guys, it's like she's designed to just go in, spam the left mouse button, and destroy everything. Hey, somebody play payphone. Devour them all. All right. And it just works in all the content in the game. I even take it into floor 3. I even take it into goddamn floor 3. I feel like something went deeply wrong during that rotation. That's
just
the
let me-
goddamn Sentry Construct, and we cook his ass.
I've come to send you to your grave.
Oh, so
So, let me go ahead and just give the rankings for that now that you've seen it. TOA, performance-wise, Galbrina will be a 5 out of 5. Or really, I would say maybe like a 4.75. Maybe she can share a 5. I don't know. The take here basically is that Galbrina will blow up every single TOA floor, and she will absolutely fucking destroy every single hologram that you put her up against. She's got built-in CC, has the simplest rotation in the game. You just go in, spam your left mouse button, do your transformations properly, and then spam your left mouse button again. And the end result is that the enemy will just basically crumble unless it has mechanics like Crownless where they can't be interrupted, or like the Lampy Lumen and stuff like that. Otherwise, you could just face roll and destroy everything with her. And WuWa, however, she deals too much damage in her rotation. And what I mean by that is that her rotation is only a set number of attacks. As you can see over here, it's not particularly that long when you're doing the most damaging things with her. Like right over here, you can see it.
Behave now.
This part isn't really doing that much damage, right? But when you trigger her transformation,
oh, he's done. It's over.
this is
for
where she
him.
does everything
Oh,
over
he's
here.
cooked. He's
Right, just
cooked.
look at that
He's
damage
cooked,
in
bro.
comparison.
Get him, Galbrina. He dead.
Boom. But it doesn't last very long. And the end result was that in Whimpering Waves, she overkills the hell out of a couple of waves, but you wish that damage could be spread across more enemies. She deals a fuck ton of damage in a small number of attacks, which makes her great for the TOA, but she overkills like crazy in Whimpering Waves. And so her WuWa score is going to be a little bit closer to like a 4. Really similar to Cartithia overall in terms of actual comparisons. But there are going to be some things that bring this team out on top relative to Cartithia. So let's talk about those. We've given our WuWa and TOA ratings, right? 5 in TOA, 4 in WuWa. Ease of use, this is going to be a 6 out of 5. I don't fucking care. All right, you can score it as a 5, but I personally view it as like a 6 or 7. This is the most brain dead team in the game. She's easy as fuck to play. He has potentially the easiest sub DPS rotation in the game. You like intro skill in on this guy, you left click, you press R, and then you hold down the attack button. He has like 5 inputs, literally in his rotation, 5 of them. One of the easiest ones in the game. And then her rotation is easy as hell too. I don't know a team in the game where all 3 of these units are this brain dead easy to use in their intended role. That's kind of like what it is. So yeah, it gets the highest possible ease of use score. The only thing that could fuck you over on this team is getting interrupted. That's basically it. That's the only thing that can be an issue for you. But guess what? That's every sub DPS in the fucking game. So I'm not gonna ding it as like a thing against Chuyan specifically. Yeah, like your Jeja can get hit while she's doing her stuff. Yinlin can get, I mean, Yinlin probably gets hit more than Chuyan, if I'm frankly being honest. But yeah, he does have a sequence during his forte. But let's just be real here. He's not getting interrupted like that often in comparison. So we gave this team a 5 in TOA. We gave this team a 4 in WuWa. We gave it 5 for ease of use. Now let's get into budget. So this team actually, in a way, features some of the more usable characters in the game. From the perspective of Shorekeeper, this is the first time that she showed up, and she's a best in slot on, I would say, close to over 40-50% of the teams in the game. And so because of that, you get points if Shorekeeper is in your lineup. Chuyan is kind of a specific character though. He only works with 2 units in the game. And while he can be played as a main DPS, his main DPS performance at S0 is just a lot worse than other units. So I'm not really going to consider it, right, as like a big mark for his usability on other rosters. I'm not going to give that many points for this. And Galbrina has 2 teams in the game. She has this one, and then she has Mono Fusion. The end result is that I'll give this team a pretty solid 3, maybe a 3.5 out of 5 when it comes to budget. And the only reason why it's not like a 2 is because Shorekeeper is on this team. And if a team's best in slot support is Shorekeeper, in my opinion, that awards it bonus points. So yeah, I think since we gave a 2 to the Chisa team, we'll give a 3 to this one. Yeah, we'll give a 3 to this one. All right, now let's move on to team number 2. You can probably guess what team number 2 is. Team number 2 is going to be none other than, well, Chuyan's making a bit of a return. It's going to be Frolova, Chuyan, Cantarella. And the reason why this team isn't number 1, it's pretty simple, guys. It's kind of an expensive team. And it doesn't really have a lot of those, like, widespread meta characters, like a Shorekeeper on it. Let's just start breaking down how this team works. So, essentially, this team has risen up dramatically in the rankings for one specific reason. And that's the addition of floors 3 and 4 in the TOA. If you're somebody that's been keeping up with the meta of this game, you would realize, oh wait, it's only 180 seconds over here on floors 1 and 2, but then it goes up to 150 seconds over here in floors 3 and 4. And the reasoning is very simple for what's going on. The TOA has essentially gotten more HP, more enemies, but you've also gotten more time to complete it. And so the end result is that characters that get stronger as the fight goes on have gotten stronger as well. And my take over here is, ladies and gentlemen, with Frolova gaining things like additional crit damage as the fight goes on longer, because every time her teammates use an echo skill, she gains a stack of aftersound. Well, when she has bonus crit damage and then bonus damage multipliers on the biggest nuke in her kit every time she builds up aftersound, and then aftersound gets built up the longer you fight, well, now this unit is undeniably tier 0 in both TOA and Wuthering Waves. Wuthering Waves was already a game mode where you had to fight for 2 minutes. She is undisputedly the best Wuthering Waves character in the game. Nobody can dispute that. The best. And in TOA, I'm not gonna say she's necessarily the best, because a lot of her strength is tied to CC and stagnation and stuff, but with the longer TOA fights, her damage has easily gone back up into competition, specifically for some of those floors. And when she's one of the best competitors in both game modes, I mean, what are we really talking about over here, guys? And when you're in this team in particular, with Chuyan and Cantarella, who both stack up aftersound like crazy, because they both have 4 echo skills. And every echo skill she gets builds up aftersound. She's getting like 8 or 9 stacks of rotation, brother. And that's kind of fucking nuts. That's like 700%, 600% motion value added onto her Scarlet Coda, and then all that extra crit damage as well. And the end result is that, well, the team performs really fucking well and is one of the best teams in the game. This easily gets a 4.75, maybe a 5 in the TOA. Probably 4.75 makes more sense. It's the only 5 in WuWa, and it's the reason why no other teams will be able to get a performance score of 5 in WuWa. And I'm just gonna be honest over here, it's one of the easier to use teams in the game. I'm not gonna go ahead and say that these characters have the most simplistic rotations ever. There's a lot of opportunities for cancels and stuff in Frolova's kit, and then Cantarella's can be a little bit unwieldy, but it's not really close to the level of like animation cancel tech that you need to optimize teams like a, you know, Chacona Cartithia. So I think that this one pretty comfortably sits at about like a 3.5, maybe a 4, just in terms of ease of use. Nothing too wild over here. However, there's a reason why this team isn't number 1, and that's going to be simple. That's budget. Frolova, ironically enough, is the most widely usable character on this team, because these other 2 units are so specific in their use cases, it's unreal. She's got one other team, and he has one other team for meta relevancy. And if you're talking about true meta relevancy, this is Cantarella's only team. Because Cantarella's only other team is with a fucking Jinsei. And Jinsei right now kind of sucks balls, because she just doesn't have great teammates. So the end result is that you got, Cantarella's got one team, Chuyan's only other team is with Galbrina. Budget-wise, guys, I'm not gonna say that this one's good. At least with Chisa, you have the forward-looking, oh, at least 3.x is gonna be better. When is she gonna get a new teammate? When are we gonna get, guys, a Havoc Resident Skill Damage Dealer? When are you gonna get that? Who's gonna be the recipient of her gentle tentacles? Probably nobody, brother. Probably nobody. And so with that said, how am I gonna rate this team high on the budget? She's got 1 team, he's got 2, she's got the most. It's gotta be like a 2.5. it's got to be like a 2.5, or maybe even the same rating as like the Cartithia team. It's got to be like a 2 or 3. And this is the thing. This is the team at its strongest. Frolova with other less expensive teammates still full clears all the content in the game, right? Think shit like this. God forbid you even use like a Tauchi as well. You can do all of these. She'll still clear all the content. But we're talking about it from the perspective of like top meta strength, and then how much does that top meta strength cost? And with Cantarella's only used in one team in the game, and even though that is Frolova's best team, and it is one of the best teams in the game, I've got to just ding it lower because this is, without a doubt, her only fucking team. And it's a hard ass to pull one unit for one team. Even though that team is used in a lot of places, it's just one team. However, one last thing I needed to mention was the playstyle score. And I will rate this one on the playstyle score, since this one is entirely subjective, right? I'm rating this like a 3. I like Frolova, I like Chuyan, but I hate Cantarella. If Cantarella's kit wasn't so unwieldy and dog-ass, like playing this unit makes me feel like I feel like I'm underwater when I'm playing Cantarella. Wait, yeah, why don't we let's just try it out so I can show you firsthand why I hate this character. Yeah, I feel like I'm drowning when I play her. That's probably the issue. It's like none of the things that I press like work in the way that I want them to. And it's not like this for any other character in the game. It's
your call.
Like this, like just for her. Lore accurate? Hey, it makes sense. Yeah, I feel like she poisoned me when I'm on fielding with her. So like this team over here,
Symphony of life.
it's just like, you know, Frolova's rotation is like very chill. And then Chuyan's is chill too.
Is mine to take.
Right. Not the hardest ones ever. But then Cantarella's on field and you're just like, alright, oh shit, okay, alright, okay, what's she doing? Why do I have to heavy attack? Okay, now I'm basic attacking afterwards. Oh, gotta cast my skill too. Okay, alright. Bro, it's just, I feel like I'm lagging when I play her. And some people, right, they might not agree. Hey, we're free to disagree over here. But what I'm gonna say is, she's my least favorite character, I think, to play in the game. I think she might be my least favorite character in the game to play. And it's all because of this stupid mechanic over here. Where you gotta hold down your heavy to go into this. I hate that. I wish she just needed to like press her resonance skill to activate it. Oh, I would have loved it way more. Instead, I got this shit. And that's why I don't play this team that often. It's not because I don't like Frolova. It's not because of all that other shit. It's because I fucking hate Cantarella. So yeah, that's just my little spiel. And that's potentially what takes the team out of number 1 for me, is the fact that I have to play Cantarella. She's my Arrow Rover, if that makes sense. All right, now it's time for us to do some honorable mentions before we get into number 1. But you can probably tell who number 1 is going to be. So our first honorable mention is going to be the best 1.x DPS team. Ladies and gentlemen, there is currently only one 1.x unit that has a modernized team. So we're just going to use this as an opportunity to recognize that. Remember, they're not going to be in the top 5 list. This is just honorable mentions. And that, of course, is going to be this lineup, ladies and gentlemen. We've got none other than the Gian Chikona Yuno team. This is officially the only 1.x DPS who has a full 5-star team of tailored units. And let's just be entirely real here. This team also clears all of the content in the game with absolute, complete, brainless ease. And I think the reality of it is that this is one of the only characters in the game that feels like they've been able to benefit, one of the only 1.x units in the game that feels like they've been able to benefit from modernized kits. And what I mean by that is, you look at this, he's got, you know, he's got the Chikona. This is his best in slot, right? They're newer units that have higher motion values, specifically as sub-DPS characters. Because, well, the older sub-DPS units in this game have actually literally been giga underpowered. Let's look at what other teams 1.x units have. This is the lowest DPS duo in the game. Just so you know. That's the lowest DPS duo in the game. Then you got... Sorry, I almost threw up in my mouth a little. Then you got this one, where Rosia is such a dog shit unit that does no damage at all. Guys, and then you got Jinxie with a combination of either Cantarella or Jeja. But then you look at how both of their outro skills work, and it's like she only gets 25% amp anyways. Everyone else gets 45 or 50 in their best in slot teams. Jinxie's still over here getting literally fucking 25 because she's not Glacial, she's not Havoc. All she does is resonant skill damage. I'm showing you all these 1.x DPS units. There's only actually 3 of them. And guys, their current teams are like fucking bad because their sub DPS characters are terrible. Brother, this is what they have to fucking work with, man. Look at this shit. Imagine. Good God. Good Lord. You are cooked. If this is one of your teammates and you're not Frolova, you are cooked. And that's more so the reason why we're calling this out. Because I can clearly see over here, because of this example that we have, I don't think the numbers are the issue. I don't think, like, the motion values of the DPSs is the issue. I think it's the sheer fact that all of their teammates, except for Jian, are a steaming pile of dog shit. Their teammates, the 1.x units, other than Jian, their teammates are so fucking bad, it's unbelievable. And they're just getting fucked over as a result of it. So yeah, this is more so like a PSA, not to talk about the performance of this team, but to more so talk about the lack of performance of the other 1.x units. Just, they don't got a lot to work with over here. They just don't. Next honorable mention that we're gonna have up next is going to be none other than the best free-to-play team in the game. And that's why I'm just gonna bring up, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just gonna bring it up over here, the best free-to-play team. You ready, guys? I'm gonna consider it some sort of blender for Lova. Yeah, I think the fact that you can use Havoc Rover with a Dan Jin and then proceed to just fuck up all the content in the game with this team. Guys, this is the cheapest team, and this is potentially the cheapest team in the game. I think it might go to this one. Imagine this is Havoc Rover, because think about it this way. Some people are probably saying, oh, what about Augusta and Mortifi? Well, who do you put on the Augusta Mortifi team? Shorekeeper or Verena. What can this team do but fuck all the content in the game without using Shorekeeper or Verena? And if you're a free-to-play and a team is really good without using Shorekeeper or Verena, isn't that a huge plus? Verena is a 0 cost, though? Oh, so you mean in the TOA or WuWa, where you have energy on the character? Having a team that uses neither Shorekeeper nor Verena isn't a plus? Who the fuck cares about 0 cost? I'm talking about getting endgame rewards. Having a no Shorekeeper, no Verena team to go clear the TOA when you literally have energy cost to clear, that's one of the biggest free-to-play assets on the server. Now you can use your Verena and Shorekeeper on other teams to go clear these floors that cost 4 and 5 energy. No healer sucks. This is actually the surprising part about the Frolova Dan Jin team. You're saying no healer for this team? Let me actually show you something crazy. And this is what's probably going to blow some of your guys' minds. Get ready for this one, boys. You said no healer, but what happens when my Havoc Rover, let's just say my Havoc Rover, right?
For everyone.
I switch him over to Havoc, and then I show you something real fast. This might blow your mind over here, boys. Rover actually has built-in self-healing on their S3, and then Dan Jin recovers like her entire HP bar when she uses her Forte. So it's like, you don't have healing on the team, but it's like only with Frolova. And guess what, guys? It's really hard to get hit on Frolova because all of her attacks CC the enemy. So Frolova's like really hard to hit during her rotation because she's constantly applying CC, and then Danjin and Rover heal themselves. So yeah, I mean, the team gets the job done. Show it? I mean, yeah, I can definitely show it. All right, so that's going to be that set over here. Let's put her on a nice little, just, you know, very relatable EOG. Actually, no, let's put her on Shuyan's signature. It looks cooler. Because I need EOG on Rover. I need EOG on Rover, so I'll put Dan Jin on that one, on Shuyan. Just imagine that I have 2 EOGs. I know I don't, but just imagine that I do. And it'll be, you'll be just fine. Anyways, okay, I think we're all set with this team, but yeah, it should absolutely go dumpster on shit. I've never actually played the team before, but don't worry, I have confidence it'll do just fine. Fuck it, we'll even go here too. I mean, this is the thing. It's not like these characters are crazy to play. I think the only thing is that you probably want to do like skill.
Beautiful enough. It is
Endure and defy.
And then like do something at the start with Rover to like get one of their stacks.
cadence. Hold. Chant. Songs
I even like
of
delayed that
dance.
one a little bit over there. Oh my gosh, how did we get...
You will
Okay.
obey.
I'm not gonna lie, that was like a little bit like fucked up. I don't know how I got hit out of an intro skill like that.
One with
Guide my fate.
sounds.
Repose. Ha! Oblivion. Let's get this over with. Eradicate.
I mean, I don't really like even like...
Oblivion. Absolute. You're in my preparatory beat.
I mean, this team is like I said before, it feels pretty safe. The only thing is that, yeah, minor skill issues on my end.
Endure and defy. None shall whisper.
What? Wait, did that even hit?
One with the sound.
Guide my fate. Let's get this over with. Strike. No mercy. Ensemble. Symphony of life. It is.
You know, honestly, for my first time playing this team,
Thus, you must
in the Hazard Zone 4,
life or death. No alternative. A soul.
doing pretty
Never
decent.
entombed.
I'm pretty sure there's a better rotation I can figure out for it. Because, like, I am, like, just, like, reaping over here on Rover, right? Like, there's definitely a way better rotation I can, like, find out for it.
Down with the curtain.
But for my first time ever with, like, this giga disgustingly fucking free-to-play lineup
Last chance.
with no healer,
Eradicate.
yeah, I'm just taking too long on the rotations, but
Annihilation. Symphony of life.
I am actually mind blown by how well this team is doing.
Heed the echoes. Witness.
I'm actually mind blown.
blossoms in wind.
I didn't think I would get this close on the first try like this.
I must not.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, no healer and stuff, there are some issues. But with that being, with a free-to-play MC, and then an S6 Dan Jin, which is one of the easiest characters to get in the game because she's on every single banner, with basically 2 free units and Frolova, getting that close on my first try, and then I'm breaking every rotation because I've never played the team before, that wins. That is the best free-to-play team. Just in terms of, like, raw performance potential and the amount that you actually have to, like, invest in that. That Dan Jin had, like, level 8 skills, too. Okay? So I could have, like, even invested more. That just did great. That exceeded my expectations, and that probably should be enough for you guys, too. And just as, like, another note, no negative status interactions at all. That team that we just used has no negative statuses. So we weren't interacting with any of the floor buff either. First time, no floor buff interactions, bricked rotations, and we get very, very close to clearing. So yeah, that's just a level of the raw performance. And obviously, like I said before, you already heard the disclaimers. If you play that team and you practice it more than I did, I literally practiced it 0 times, you can likely get way better results than I did as well, because I literally died. Now, let's talk about our final honorable mention, and that is going to be for the rewards for effort put in. And, well, that's just going to be time to talk about this team. Because despite all of the news that we've heard about Zani being the character that power creeps everything in the game, the only thing that I've seen regarding Zani is that in the hands of about 95% of the population, this character sucks ass. No. That's basically the fact that I've heard and seen firsthand so many struggles from individuals trying to clear with this unit in Wuthering Waves, trying to clear in TOA, and they're having a bunch of issues because she has, without a doubt, potentially the clunkiest kit in the game. I'm just gonna be real, guys. It's rough playing this team because every single, like, Phoebe and Zani alone might have some of the clunkiest animations, the clunkiest transitions, and forced quick swaps I've ever seen for them not to suck ass. Their animations take fucking forever. And if you don't swap cancel shit like Phoebe and her basic attacks and stuff, the team's rotation takes like 40 seconds. So much longer than every other lineup. And so at a baseline, for this team to do anything, you, like, have to quick swap. Remember when I mentioned the Mono Fusion team at the start of the video, right? As one where you can quick swap as an option. You can quick swap as a choice to get high damage. If you don't quick swap with this team, you don't clear. I think that's the issue nowadays. If you don't quick swap with Zani, you actually get close to just not clearing. And the end result is that I feel like a unit like this, where her damage potential, if you do sweat like crazy, is high. Not as high as other units, but is high, but her baseline performance is so bad, that's going to create the whole debate regarding skill issue. Basically, Zani enjoyers are saying, hey, unless you learn how to intricately quick swap with this unit, just get a baseline level of performance that no other unit needs to do to get this baseline level of performance. And she only works in this one team, and you also had a quick swap in this team. And if you think that's a lot of hoops to jump through, you have a skill issue, I'm gonna be honest, guys. You sound like the Chang Li mains back in version 1.3 of the game, where they insisted that Chang Li was a strong unit. As long as you, like, played the sweatiest quick swap you fucking could with her. No, she was pretty dog shit until Mono Fusion came out, and quick swap was the only way to play her. Zani is the same. She's a dog shit unit, and the only way to play her is in quick swap. And if you don't, she is literally one of the, like, middling worst DPS units in the game. Just straight up from that perspective. Because I literally have been able to get easier clears in WuWa using Zhang Li Yao. I've been able to get better clears playing Zhang Li fucking Yao in WuWa because I don't want to learn how to quick swap with this fucking unit because I think she's clunky as shit. The end result, guys, is that I just think that there's potential here, but only if you want to do it. And you got to invest a ridiculous amount of time, muscle memory, all of that, just to play the team in a manner where it doesn't fucking suck dick. Because if you don't do the quick swap, it's bad. It legitimately feels bad to play this team. But we'll still recognize it because the ceiling is there. All right. Those are going to be our honorable mentions. Now, let's get into our final ranking. Ladies and gentlemen. And that's going to be, at the very top, Augusta, Yuno, and Shorekeeper. And the reason for this one is pretty simple. These 3 units are some of the most flexible ones in the game. Both, like, kit animation-wise and also, like use cases on the roster-wise. They combine together pretty much the strongest elements of the roster and basically blend it all into one team. Let me start breaking it all down. So you got Augusta over here, who's a fantastic free-to-play DPS with a Mortifee. That's a baseline capability that she has. You got Yuno, who's a best-in-slot heavy attack buffer, but also has the capability to be a main DPS, but then also has the capability to heal on top of it. That's a lot of roles to fill in one place. And she also can be used in a bunch of fucking different teams because there's one where she's a heavy attack buffer, there's one where Yuno's the healer, and then there's one where Yuno is like a damage dealer as well. So that's another wide variety of use cases. And then you got Shorekeeper, who's the most general use case, best support in the game. So all 3 of these characters have a bunch of wide use cases, and the damage is also really fucking high. This is comparable in damage to a Kartithia team in the TOA. However, in WuWa, this team also has better AoE damage in WuWa. The only thing holding this team back is the fact that Augusta's ultimate just fucking feels bugged in Wuthering Waves. And if you're not keeping track of like the waves timer in the corner over here when you're doing your clears, you might ultimate and then like only hit one enemy with the entire thing. And Yuno can occasionally hit air. But other than that, that's not really like damage or performance. That's a little bit of just clunk. Their damage profile, their AoE, all of that is perfect for the game mode. It's just sometimes their abilities just miss. But it is what it is. And even with the abilities missing, they still oftentimes end up performing better than other teams. This makes their TOA score a 5. And their Wuthering Waves score will be, I'll knock it down a teeny bit because of the clunk. It'll be a 4.75. Now, I probably answered some of the other questions. Ease of use. I'm not going to go ahead and say that this is a hard team, but I'm not going to say it's the easiest team in the game either. Augusta can get stuffed, and it's really annoying when Augusta gets stuffed during her animations, but it's hard to get fucked over on Yuno. But you can miss your attacks on Yuno if you're casting them too fast, and she hasn't locked onto a target. So I'll give ease of use for these guys a 4. I'll give them a 4 because it's like, I'm gonna be real. I'm not gonna act like, you know, Augusta's too hard to use after you get her second Majesty stack. However, you can also mess up the outro skills and stuff and not get her Majesty stack either. I'll give them like a 3.5, a 4. We haven't rated a team of 4 yet, and this team is not hard to play. Yeah, I think it's 4. She also freezes time, bro. Budget. This is one that might surprise you guys. This team's getting a high score on budget. And the reason why it's getting a high score on budget is that you can build up this whole team and then break it apart to do a bunch of other things, right? Let's just say you have Yuno. You built this team. Great. Now you have Yuno to be a Spectro Frazzle support. You can put her on the Zani Phoebe team. She'll heal. And now you have a support for that team. Or she can be a main DPS. Or she can go buff a Chuyan or a Gion. Then you could just bring Mortifi onto her team, pair her with a Verena, and go tackle. The thing is that this one team over here can be broken apart into 3 teams. Augusta main DPS, Yuno main DPS or support, and then Shorekeeper supporting somewhere else. I'm going to consider that high budget, brother. If anything, I might consider that like a 4 out of 5. Are you beginning to see now why I'm placing this team at the top? Because I don't really see any other team in the game where when you build this one, you now have the ingredients to build like several other teams and like not really lose power on any of them either because they're all going to be close to best in slots on those teams that you're building. So yeah, I would say a 4, maybe a 4.5 on the budget scale because of how widely usable these characters are. The exact opposite argument that I made for characters like Galbrina, the exact opposite that I made with Chuyan, Cantarella. Take that script and flip it over here. That's why they're number 1. Now, playstyle. This team has aura. This is one of the most aura-rich teams in the game. You literally have the sun and moon. You've got Augusta freezing time, right? You got Yuno with her foot bow marble thing, and then she fires off a fat shot, and then she's got a lot of air moves, right? The team is a spectacle, without a doubt. But I'm also going to be honest. Augusta's a little boring after a while. And you do have to do a strict 1, 2, 3. You can never do swaps, ever, in this team. You can, like, never do swaps or you lose all your buffs. It's kind of just like a set way to play the game every single time. It feels like Carlotta, but with more room for interruption. It feels similar to Galbrina Chuyan. I'll give it a 3 out of 5 because it visually looks great, but I'm not going to pretend that it's a super fun team to play. After a while, it was fun the first couple of times. Without a doubt, it was fun the first couple of times. But nowadays, it's not really a team that I go for very often because it's kind of just, you know, it is a very simple 1, 2, 3, and you never want to swap. But yeah, overall, that's going to be the rankings. And hopefully you guys can see the order with which we've displayed everything. So let me just actually quickly go ahead and kind of like walk us through a final wrap up of why everything is where it is. Some minor reasoning, and then we'll just sort of, you know, cap it off from there. All right, so I do believe our 5th place team was Monofusion over here, and then our 2nd place team was none other than these teams. And then our 3rd place team was Shorekeeper, Chuyan, Galbrina. And then our 2nd place team was Frolova, Chuyan, and Cantarella. And our 1st place team is going to be Augusta Yuno. Shorekeeper. All right, so let's kind of go through this list. So at the very bottom, we're going to have Mono Fusion. The reason why they're there and it's such a big drop compared to other tier list rankings is the fact that Chang Li is a bit of a weak partner in this circumstance. Galbrina is better than her. It's also a kind of budget unfriendly team because these characters aren't widely usable in a lot of like other places. And let's just be entirely honest here. The damage really isn't up to scuff because of how Chang Li performs over here. But it's still a very, very, very fun team. Gets a lot of personal style points from me. Second, we're gonna have this team over here, the highest damaging team in the TOA. However, the way that it deals damage makes it fall behind a little bit in WuWa compared to other teams. It's also an absurdly expensive team, understanding that Arrow Rover is out there. But this team is better than having Arrow Rover on it. So that's the one that we're ranking over here. Budget-wise, it's fucking terrible. Cheese is one of the worst value units in the game, but she's expected to grow over time. But at least in the present, absolutely, there are not a lot of use cases for her outside of this team. Playstyle wise, it's a huge improvement over using Arrow Rover, but like I said before, the budget brings it back. And in number 3, we're gonna have Shorekeeper, Chuyan, Galbrina. Easiest team in the game, the most brainless one to use. I'm not going to say that its damage is necessarily at the highest levels, especially compared to some other lineups, but it's right up there at the top. And while it does have some weaknesses due to Galbrina's overkilling tendency and Whimpering Waste, she can still get the job done over there too. But yes, this is without a doubt the easiest team on the list and is meant to be sort of like that brain dead one for people that might have a bit of a skill issue with the game. And then we're going to have Frolova, who's on the other side of the equation. Probably the best overall team in the game, but this is a team that scores worse on the budget side. Best overall performance in TOA and WuWa, but good golly gee, you have to pull Cantarella to get this synergy, and you have to pull Chuyan. And I'm gonna be real, those two characters aren't really ones that you're gonna use in a lot of other places. This is Chuyan's other meta team. This is Cantarella's only meta team. So to get this, you have to sacrifice a lot, but when you do get it, it's great. This team doesn't have the highest damage in the game, isn't the best in both game modes, but it is a comfortable second place in a lot of different areas in TOA and WuWa. And these are some of the highest value characters in the game, without a fucking doubt. You don't get much better bang for your buck than pulling this team, because like I said before, this team, you could take all 3 of these characters and you could put them in another team and they'll still get amazing performance. And I can't really comfortably say that for any other unit on this roster, except for Chisa in the future, Chakona, but then Chakona ends up partnering with Yuno, so it's kind of a moot point. Chakona didn't have these teams until Yuno came out. Yuno's actually the one that made these teams a possibility. You kind of see what I mean. And then Lupa. So I think it's Lupa, Chisa, and Chakona are the only ones that share this level of value, and probably Chuyan in the future as well as more Echo Skill damage dealers come out. But without a doubt, these units in the present, in version at the end of 2.x, this is the most valuable team in the game for what you can do with it when all 3 are slotted together, but for also what you can do with these individual teammates when you take them out of this team. No other lineup comes close. And again, thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Make sure to play for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or mobile now by using my links in the pinned comment or video description. And as a plus, new and returning players that haven't played in 6 months will also receive a huge bonus pack across all platforms, including multiple premium vehicles and other goodies, available only for a limited time, so make sure not to miss that one. So yeah, that's going to be our final wrap-up, ladies and gentlemen, of this discussion over here. It's a pretty in-depth one, but I thought we could use a nice little breakdown as we head into version 3.0. So yeah, that'll be it. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.